Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club with 4 race starts. We're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3. And Category 4 in red. Well, you can certainly see the legs flying around here. Rebecca Johnson absolutely nailing this 90 cadence out of the saddle, really stomping it round and pushing here up at the front on your screens. In person on the left-hand side of the screen on the front of the bike race at the moment in Category 1 with McCarthy and Bruni, the only riders able
look
to
at
go
that.
with this pace. And look at the strength of Catherine Bua here. Look at the pace
Look at
of
that.
Category 2
One.
coming up here. They are absolutely motoring here. It's the long section here. It's definitely suiting Mary Kate McCarthy. She's constantly attacking here,
Yeah, look at
looking to do a long solo, I suspect. 6 seconds to Guerra, 6 seconds to Bruni. And Kolczynski starting to try and close that gap. Now Holcroft just opening up a gap on Menendez on the run in here. Remember, these riders are fighting for some key positions
but you know
on
why?
the run in.
Because there is a group coming from behind and it is closing down.
So Category 1 and Category 2 leaders together. Category 3 and 4 leaders up the road just. And
they're not far ahead.
It is only just. So the leaders in Category 1 and 2, top right-hand side of your screen. The chasers in Category 1, top left-hand side of your screen. The leaders in Category 3, bottom left-hand side of your screen. They are 300 metres behind the leaders in Category 4.
Georgina Jones is leading the race from Isabel Alzat. Ella Vink closing back down onto Alzat's wheel. But you can see now in the distance the leaders in the Category 3 race are coming.
Can Jones solo to victory? Alzat is behind. Then it's Vink. And at the moment, they are seeing the riders leading Category 3 coming through as well. And that tells you just how fast Category 3 are moving. They're on the chase. So Mary Kate McCarthy, your world champion, who took that title in Abu Dhabi in that live final for the UCI, powered by MyWhoosh, makes her way to another UCI banner. This time it's going to be for the win on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. The world champion, your winner here today. It is Mary Kate McCarthy, winner of the Sunday Race Club qualifier race number 3. Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. What a November we have had in qualifiers 1, 2 and 3. An absolute pleasure putting words to the action. My name is Matt Payne. You can follow me at Matt Face Payne. I'm here in the studio with Emma Martin. Emma currently just trying to cover off all the screens that we have in front of us simultaneously, as well as
so true.
We've got enough notes here, I think, to make a complete concerto one way or another. There's that much in front of us. And do you know what? I bet we don't use much of it because the racing will be jam-packed in our finals here today, where our team competition comes into play. Really looking forward to this. What course are we going to today, Emma?
Well, I'll tell you something. We are heading to Colombia, to the Paso Alto, in both the women's and the men's race today. For the women, it's 35 kilometres of racing and 537 metres of climbing. And it is indeed the interesting start that is a lot of our racers' favourites. But today, I think it's going to play out a little differently. So 21.9 kilometres are fairly flat, other than those little bridges where we tend to see attacks. Then the Medellin City climb, 5.5 kilometres, just shy of 6%. That, for me, is the crucial one. We then transition through the Amazon rainforest sprint into the Bogota climb, but at 3.5 kilometres with a gradient average of 2.9, well, it tends to keep the packs together. And we often see sprints, and I think this is going to be really, really interesting. I love it when we go to the Paso Alto for the monthly final, because the team competition and the team tactics, it makes for a very, very interesting race, because we don't tend to see them just sit up and ride the first 20k.
You cannot afford to give away time when you're in the team competition, and you cannot afford to lose focus. Now, one of the ways you can lose focus in the Sunday Race Club when it comes to a team competition is maybe go off pursuing some kind of side mission somewhere, and that is going to be very, very risky indeed. Let's take a look at our Category 4 teams to kick off first of all, because Category 4 are our first starters away. We've got the AMID team even. We have one team of 5, and we've got 5 teams of 4 here today. The AMID team of 4, the Free Bike Squad team of 4, Pedal Dancers with 4, the Petit 4 squads have 4, What Women have 4, and Phoenix are the team with 5, and that is going to be Neves, Hoyos, De Silva Kirchner, Neves, Sarasu, and Ferron in that Phoenix team. So really, really going to be interesting to see who of those team riders are going to be out there. Now, let's dive in with the teams. Let me run first of all. Let's name check our team riders so we know who is in which team first of all, because it's going to be critical later on. So AMID, we have got Amy Suribayo, we have got Angie Solzano, Isabella Giraldo, and Maria Zabala. In the Free Bike Squad, another team of 4, Adriana Barker, Adriana Flores, Elisa Kirchner, and Rona Tangilon. In the Pedal Dancers, next team of 4, we've got Isabel Alzate, we've got Angie Arreyes, we've got Camila Zulaga, as well as Elena Lopez. In the Petit 4 squad, we've got the Bridget Bremner machine. That is Bridget Bremner, absolutely indomitable rider, with Emma Sonnerson, Joanna Warren, and Nikki Lloyd as well. Then in What's Women, we've got Ella Vink, Georgina Jones, Katie Bago, and Natalia Idzik. And then the Phoenix squad, Cynthia Hoyos, as we said, Jacqueline Francisco de Silva Kirchner, Judith Neves, we've got Sarsu and Ferron. A massive, massive cast. And riders, Salama Al-Kaibi and Liz Smithson, who are very strong riders individually as well, Emma. Take us through some of these riders in terms of what's happening in terms of results and teams.
Well, I can do indeed, and you know what? It's so interesting. Let's start with Angie Reyes, who's on our screen at the moment, part and parcel of the Pedal Dancers squad. And I tell you, Valencia's had a second, Zaluga's had a second and a fifth, and Lopez on that team has had a third place this month. It's going to be a strong competition. They were second last month to the Petit Fours in the October final on the Jebel Hafid. They are going to be a team to watch. The What Women, Bago, Vink, Jones, and Idzik. Well, Vink's had a third. Jones has had a first, a third, and a fourth. And Idzik's had a first and a fifth. For me, they have got to be the team to watch today. Petit Four, you can never discount them. But I think the story today of the team competition is that ignore everything that happened last month. We've had so much movement in terms of the women moving up.
So, team competition critical today because it is our final teams in Category 3. Freewheeling Spirits, one of our teams with 4 riders. 3 teams with 4 riders, in fact. The teams with 5, 3 teams as well. More riders you have, the more reserves you have. So Freewheeling Spirits with 4 riders. Gear Goddesses with 5. Grind My Gears with 4. La Rosa Blanca with 5. What's Up with 4. And the Weekend Warriors with 5 riders. So, one individual rider in Palmo Mongeli in here from Italy. Have to say, it's going to be very interesting how this plays out because the squads are very, very balanced. We're just in with Rebecca Johnson at the moment, part of that La Rosa Blanca squad, and with Bergie Montoya, Taconis Vasquez, and Johnson in the La Rosa Blanca squad. I think they are going to be a tough team to beat, but would you bet against them when you've got the rest of the teams? Well, you could, and I don't think it would be a bad move to spread your bets across everybody because all these teams are going to be up there. Let's get racing with Category 3. Here we go on the Sunday Race Club on MyWhoosh. Let's hit the road. Let's take you through the team. So we're taking you through the team of La Rosa Blanca. The Freewheeling Spirits is Gemma Daniels, Isabella Bryson, Kirsten Hamilton, and Simone Francis. Our Gear Goddesses, Danny Giraldo, Gina De Grazia, Gina Van Rossum, Catherine Tomkinson, and Solange Bonilla. The Grand Mike Gear Squad, Alina Francisca de Silva, Angel Ann Hadlock, along with Novalink Conan and Tanya Howeiler. The team from Golden Light, represented by Golden Light here today, so need 3 to count, so I'm not going to be taking part in that team competition, but can feature individually. For the What's Up squad, Karolina Chizikowicz, Louisa Schultz, Maria Wilhelm, and Nina Downing. And then in the Weekend Warriors, Claudia Hyde, Jennifer Ellos, Kim Bonilla, Melissa Simkin, and Philippa Hill, who we saw on our highlights earlier on. All strong squads, Emma. In category 3, this is going to be really interesting.
It is indeed, and Angel Hadlock is on our screen at the moment. She's part and parcel of the Grind My Gears squad. She's had 2 third places this month already. But for me, category 3 is the most open competition today in this team competition, because I think there are 4 squads out of the 6 teams who could take it.
Excellent.
And you know what? Because the Gear Goddesses, Van Rossum's had a 5th, Bonilla's had a 4th and a 5th. They've also got De Gracia, Tomkinson and Geraldo in there. La Rosa Blanca took the win last month, and there's been some movement in the squad, but Bergin's had a 2nd, Montoya's had a 2nd, Vasquez a 3rd and a 4th, and Johnson a 4th. And this is a climbers course today, and I think Rebecca Johnson could go well. She's gone well on this course before, and so has Bergin. Now, the Weekend Warriors, I'll tell you something. Claudia Hyde, a 1st and a 2nd. Melissa Simpkins had a 4th, and Philippa Hill has had 2 first place. All the winners from this month are in the Weekend Warriors squad. This, for me, the team competition is just going to come down to, well, how close those time gaps are.
And how close your riders in your squad in 2nd and 3rd counting places. Now, if you've not watched Sunday Race Club before on a final, the final has the team competition. This team competition, it's the best times of your best 3 riders. And you've got to finish at least 3 riders added together to give you your team time, your cumulative team time. The team with the fastest cumulative team time wins, and the team with the 2nd fastest cumulative team time is 2nd, and so on the way through. So all the riders in the team need to be up there, and even if the rider is, if you're in a team of 5, if you're the 4th or 5th rider on the road in your team, and one of your riders in front has a problem, and that could be cramp, it could be dropping the phone, it could
be anything.
It could be the dog eats the homework, whatever it is. You need to be in the running and try and keep as close as you can. So that means all of our riders will be riding all the way to the finish. It is a particularly exhausting day today, and that definitely is going to test our riders. You can see our Grind My Gears crew up on the screen. They are going to be looking to score points. Will it be our 3 riders we had on screen? We'll have to find out as category 2 away. Each of our race fields separated by 5 minutes in their race start time. Now, the Chain Chasers squad with 4 riders on the squad. The Cyclo Bus with 5. The E Crew have 5 riders. The Globetrotters have 5 riders. In fact, of our teams today, we have 4 teams of 5 riders and 2 teams of 4 in category 2. The rest of the squads, well, the Sunday Crew, they have 5, and the Velocity Vikings have 4. So, going to be tight on time in between the teams in all of our categories. We have got 6 teams here. We've got riders with 5 and 4 riders in each of those squads, and that is going to take it very, very close indeed.
Well, it is indeed. And did you know what? This competition in category 2 last month, once we've got these riders underway, I'm going to tell you what happened last month, because last month was record breaking.
Oh, record breaking. I love record breaking. It's like record breakers if you want to be the best. And all that. I'm not going to sing the theme tune from Record Breakers by the record breaking Roy Castle, in fact. But will our riders break a record today on the course record here today? Well, it does tend to get set when the riders are absolutely.
Do you know when the
flying.
course record was set?
It's got to be a final. Go on.
August final for the women. Kate McCarthy, 62 minutes and 2 seconds.
Wow. Incredibly quick. Remembering, of course, Kate McCarthy is our world champion. Well, away they go. They will be joined by the world champion on the course when category 1 set off in the yellow jerseys. But all of our riders in green. There are category 2 riders. Remember, category 4 in red, category 3 in blue, category 2 in green, and category 1 in yellow, all riding the same race route, 35 kilometers, 537 meters of elevation. Okay, I'm going to read the telephone book to you first, or shall we go to the record-breaking news. Let's go to the record-breaking news.
Let's do record-breaking
Let's do
news first.
record-breaking.
So, the record for the team competition, the closest team competition ever, was indeed set in the October final by the Category 2 women. Julia Montgomery on our screen at the moment. Montgomery, part and parcel of the Velocity Vikings, and they were indeed one of these teams in this record-breaking final. So the Globetrotters and the Velocity Vikings last month. The Globetrotters took first place. The Velocity Vikings took second place. The time distance gap, I'm going to say it again, the time gap between these two teams, 0.487 of a second.
Less than half a second separated
the two teams in the team competition. Remembering, of course, it's the first three riders over the line. Their times are added together. Now, I can tell you, okay, that even across the men's and the women's competition, it is the fastest team competition ever and the least gap. Okay, in the February final of 2024, in the men's Category 2, there was a 2-second gap between the Hitman and Hubbards. In the January final, in the men's Category 3, there was a 2.8-second gap between Draft and the Gold Grabbers. The fastest and smallest gap previously in the women's competition, the September final from this year, Category 3, La Rosa Blanca versus Grind My Gears, was at 10 seconds. And in the February final, a Feta Skier versus Risky Biscuits was 16 seconds. The Category 2 women smashed the team competition last month, and it is absolutely record-breaking. Less than half a second between the Globetrotters and the Velocity Vikings.
And that indicates just how strong the women's race field is in Category 2 and how close those ability levels are. You can see our riders out on the screens. Category 4 at the moment at 7.5 kilometres. Category 3 currently sitting at 4.5 kilometres into the race route. Category 2 at 1.5 kilometres. And the Category 1 riders are on the start line waiting to go. We'll try and get the team names in Category 2 at some point on the way out and round when we can squeeze them all in. There's so many riders here today. It's brilliant to see.
110.
It's a huge field, and it's a final. Remember, to qualify for the finals, you do have to have 2 verified rides. So you need to finish 2 Sunday race clubs and have those performances verified in the qualifiers. And with only 3 opportunities, generally most months, that means you've got to get riding and riding hard. So let's dive in with Category 1. Remember, Category 4 is our standard category. Move up through those categories. Ablock International, Lisa Hermansen, Maria Holcroft, Mary Kate McCarthy, the world champion, Mika Soderstrom, and Tiffany Penner. Effetto Skier, Amelia Van Hove, Joanna Kalman, Karolina Kokolowicz, Roberta Bassoni. We've got the Sweat Sensations. The Sweat Sensations with Amelia Veld, Catherine Fua, Merle Bruni, and Mina Koyson, for remember a bronze medalist. Don't forget, of course, we've got the fully calibrated squad, and that is Cornelia Engstrom, Joanna Tidholm, Kelsey J. Van Short, and Stephanie Sidlick. Sweet Dream squad is Emily Nyquist, Jenny Ecker, Jermaine Predo, and Pia Kuma. And the Thundercats, Dana Wagner, Gabby Guerra, who's the silver medalist from the World Championships, Kristen Kolchinsky, Marlene Bjarhead, and Celine Columbi. 2 teams of 5. That's the Thundercats and Ablock International, and 4 teams of 4.
Well, let me tell you, it was Ablock International who took the win last month in the team competition from a Feta Skier. But there's been a lot of moving around in Category 1 because we've had quite a few riders come up. And the introduction of the Sweet Dreams squad, Nyquist has joined the Sunday Race Club. Great to see her. Jenny Eck, Jermaine Prado has come up. Pia Kuma has come up. So that team coming into the mix, really, really good. And because of the new riders coming in, we've had a little bit of movement across the other teams too in terms of riders. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens today. So, in Category 1.
Category 1, lined up and ready. Joanna Kalman, Karolina Kokolowicz, and Roberta Bassoni on your screens. The clock ticks away. The Effetto Skier and the rest of the riders. This race field in Category 1 set off from the pens here in Colombia, heading out on the Colombia Paso Alto route. Time to see who will come out as the queen of the passes at the top of that Paso Alto climb, who will be scoring the best points for their team, and who's going to be right up there winning that big prize money.
Well, for me in Category 1, and we will just drop back into Category 3 in a second, I think we've got 4 squads in Category 1 who can do the business. Ablock International, fully calibrated, Sweat Sensations and the Thundercats, and that's because of the performances so far this month, and we will get to those. But at the moment in Category 3, Bryson is on the front, Wilhelm is there, so is Bonilla and Hill, and they're just coming under the end of the first sprint on the course. Now, in that first 20 kilometres, there are 4 sprints indeed. The Amazonia sprint is the one the riders have just gone through. Tucanis leading at the moment. There you go, the screen just updating as the pack come through, because it's not always the rider on the front of the pack that sets the fastest time. In fact, it's normally not the rider on the front of the pack that sets the fastest time. But 26 riders in this group in Category 3, all through the sprint together at 6.3 kilometres.
And one rider just distanced off the back, and sometimes that rider can get back on. But one point to remember is that the riders are getting draft. Now, the draft extends, it's about 10 metres behind the riders when they're riding. You can see Laura Tucanis in that green skin suit of the sprint winner. Now, by staying in that draft, you're expending less energy to do the same speed because you're not pushing through the air as fast, as hard. That's really, really key. The draft effect is greater the greater the speed that you're traveling. Now, it's not affected by going uphill per se, because basically the gradient doesn't change the draft effect. It's the fact that when you go uphill, you kind of go slower. So do remember, I know it's a serious question that was actually asked, and you would, you do need to know when you are getting draft effect and when you're able to do that. And when you're going through a sprint, taking the draft, start at the back of the group, finish at the front of the group, maybe get as much draft as you can on the way through, you're going to get that faster time. The sprint competition, remember, it only is for bragging rights. There are no prizes allocated out other than the in-game sprint skin suit, which is a green skin suit, not a green jersey, which is Category 2 on your screen. So Category 2, this big bunch really racing hard. I'm going to try and attempt to get right through all the team names in one go. Here we go. Let's see. Brianna Samuel, Eva Esler, Lam Kong and Wendy McAlpine. They are your chain chasers. Anya Kinsella, Angelica Altamarino, Carolina Alzate, Peta Antonella, and Stefani Piccolo, your cyclopaths. Amanda Paulson, Bridget Filensky, Dana Davidson, Dorothy Gonzalez-Arroyo, and Julia Walkenhurst. They're the E-Crew squad. We've got Alejandra Yaramilla. We've got Hannah Giannatti, Nelly Larson, Serena Vittori, and Sophie Giovanni. They're your Globetrotter squad. Barbara Bulara, along with Jenny Daniel, Kimberly Miller, Madonna Degum Shandy, and Sylvia Gorea, your Sunday crew riders. And the last team, well, Anna Embry, Anna Svarstrom, Julie Montgomery, and Sarah London, the Velocity or Velocity, depending on how you pronounce it, Vikings. I say Velocity, you say Velocity, I say tomato, you say tomato. There you go.
Oh, there you go, indeed.
And just got through them all.
With Jenny Daniel at the moment, this Category 2 competition, it should be really interesting. Like I say, last month, it was the closest ever team competition. This month, I think it's going to be interesting. The E-Crew, Filensky's had a first and a fourth. Gonzalez Ruiz had a first. So it's a strong squad in that way. And Paulson is part and parcel of that, and Paulson's had a 5th place as well. And for me, they're going up against the Globetrotters because Giannatti's had a 3rd, Larson's had a 2nd and a 3rd, Vittori's had a 2nd and a 3rd, and Giovanni's had a 1st and a 4th.
So now we have completely overloaded your mind, your brain cells with information, setting the scene about what's coming up and who's done what and who's in which team. I hope you were all taking notes. We will be asking questions later. Our Gear Goddesses squad, some of our Gear Goddesses are riders here: Catherine Tompkins and Gina Van Rossum, and an absolutely blisteringly on form last week, Gina De Grazia, who was riding really, really strongly last week. It's going to be very interesting to see how they work as a team together. Who is going to take this out? Who will be in at the finish? Now, this course, it is essentially flat with the bridges and with those raised boardwalks, as Emma has indicated, on the way to the base of the climb. However, there is the opportunity to drop somebody. Any inattention by a rider, any splits or gaps, you can be forced to chase, and that's going to make you work really hard. When you lose a group, you are in trouble on this course because you're not getting those undulations to come in. Experience of riding in the group really, really key. Lisa Hermansen, the rider featured on the main screen. We've got Sophie Giovanni on the side screen there. And Sophie Giovanni, who's going to find her. Here she is in the Category 2 race. Her avatar, nice and tightly ensconced in with the pack. The riders at the moment, the groups here, you can see they're riding along. And I'm loving the fact that when the groups are coming through these sprints, sometimes we see people having a go, having a dig, I want to say the word trying it on almost. They try and go for that sprint and put that effort and we'll use it for training. That's okay in a qualifier where you are just racing really for yourself. We see it far less in terms of going gratuitously for a sprint, effectively, when it's the team competition and the finals, and we see it more as a tactic. So we see the pace lifting here over the bridge or through the sprint. And that is when the riders are really giving it beans because they want to make it hard. Nelly Larsson, one of the really strong riders here from Sweden, carrying that sprint skin suit in Category 2.
Yeah.
Super strong rider on some great form at the moment.
Yeah, she is. She's been riding really, really strongly and always great to see. She's had a second and a third already this month. And, well, she should be right up there and in the mix today.
And Nelly Larsson, one of our multi-sport riders, Nelly, a mountain bike coach as well, really strong mountain bike scene in Sweden. Yeah. And I have to say, having had the pleasure of commentating on the XCE, the mountain bike eliminator from Falun, what a great race, what a great venue. And it held a cyclocross, a big start to the cyclocross scene in Sweden as well to the start of the season. But of course, the biggest esports squads as well.
Well, and you can see the damage these bridges are doing. And Johanna Tidholm in Category 1 currently attacking this bridge, really giving herself a run into it. This is the first of the bridges on this Passo Alto course, and they come through this first 21.9 kilometres. Now, this is the type of action we tend to see here because it's realistically the main opportunity on this course early on before you get to the Medellin City climb to break the pack. And you may not break the pack big style, but you may well start to lose riders off the back. And the size of these groups today in this women's race, we're looking at around 26 riders in Category 1 through to 29 in Category 2 and Category 3, dropping a few off the back before you go into the main climb. Well, that is a really key tactic, and we're going to see some of the teams send riders down the road up and over these bridges deliberately to try and drop riders off the group. But paying attention in these early stages of the Passo Alto, absolutely crucial. And take a look at that. Mika Soderstrom goes straight over the top and keeps the pace high. She's really pushing at the moment, just shy of 6 watts per kilo. And that's because they're coming into the next bridge, pushing on up. And Soderstrom making the most of this. Nyquist coming in with her Manson to make sure there's no damage done.
And you can see that attack, that move, the first move going through there, the second move then going over the top, the chase coming from Nyquist, interestingly. So Nyquist are riding for the Sweet Dreams squad, chasing down that move by fully calibrated Tidholm. And then you've seen the moves go again and again. And this is really what we tend to see a lot of on the early stages in the team competition. Now, Category 2, also blisteringly quick today. You can see that because there are riders having to chase onto the back of the pack. So riders being dropped off the back of the group. The riders through the Amazonia Sprint, an indicator of where they've gone through. So we've got Amazonia Sprint, we've got the Jungle Trek Sprint, we've got the Sangil Sprint and the Monpox City Sprint. All 4 of those on the flatlands in the first 22k. The 5th and final sprint is in the FRB section. This is the flat rolling bumpy section, as named by Emma Martin, my co-host alongside me, to describe the section between climbs number 1 and climb number 2 at the top on the plateau, and the Amazon Rainforest Sprint, the last chance to score points in that sprint competition.
Now, if you take a look at Category 4 on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you can see riders now being distanced off the back there. They're currently at 14.3 kilometres. They've been transitioning over the bridges, and you can see that there has been some damage done to that pack and that they've lost riders off the back of the group. The other packs that we can see still rolling, Category 1, Category 2, Category 3, all big, tight groups still.
And another move, just going like Tiffany Pennon just rolled over the front of the group, over the top of the group there. Now Mika Soderstrom is going to kick in to this sprint. Soderstrom, very active here today. And a lot of riders do not want this to be a short race. And by that, I mean they don't want it to be from 22 kilometres into the race route to the finish. They want it to be the full race route.
Well, what I want to see here is Soderstrom going to sit up or is Soderstrom going to keep going? Because as a team tactic for Ablock International, sending Mika Soderstrom down the road during a sprint, well, the rest of the teams would expect that because she's a strong sprinter. But we've seen the tactic work many times, particularly in the men's race, not so much tried in the women's, where they just keep going through the sprint and out the other side. A bit of a smokescreen, really, in terms of where the attack takes place.
And really interesting move because she came over the top of Tiffany Penner. Penner, the Canadian rider for Ablock International, had gone on to the front. She'd pushed, and then we saw some teammate go over the top and continue to push on, getting the fastest time in that sprint, taking that away. And the racing well and truly is on. We sometimes see in the qualifiers on this course the leaderboard in the sprints being covered with every jersey apart from a yellow jersey because category 1 basically don't contest them as much generally. However, and it is a big however, in the finals, because everybody's contesting the team competition, nobody wants to let anybody go. It tends to be that the groups go through in almost colour order. We almost see a block of yellow at the top, then green, then blue, and then red because of the pace that the riders en masse ride, particularly when we've got what are very balanced race fields, as you said, Emma, with that sort of 25 to 30 in every race field in category 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, if you're new to the course into Paso Alto, we've gone out and around the coffee area of Colombia. We've now made our way into the subterranean world that contains the Sans-Gil sprint. The riders making the way along this boardwalk through the tunnels, over the water, between the flaming firebrands either side of this causeway, and they're going to make the way out. It's a long way till you get out into the sunshine, as you can see, because they're just coming into the sunshine in category 1, 16k in. Category 3 have just entered the tunnels, and they're going to get a little bit of a gradient, a little bit of a kick up here as they go into those tunnels. On the way towards the tunnels of Category 2, they're at 11k. In Category 1, well, the leaders in Category 1, this big bunch at 8.1 kilometres. The green arch in front is the start of the next sprint. That's the Jungle Trek sprint. Will we see riders using the sprint to mask an attack? I think they're probably all wise to that. We're in with Gabby Guerra, one of the absolute superstars of cycling esports. A rider who took Mary-Kate McCarthy to the line in the World Championships. An absolutely storming rider, and a rider who I think is on the form of her life.
Well, I do think she's on some phenomenal form at the moment. You are quite right, Matt, as they go through the next sprint. There are 8.5 kilometres into this 35-kilometre race, the Category 1 riders, and they are now well and truly moving through the early stages of this race. So Karolina Kolkowitz from Category 1 taking the fastest time through the Jungle Trek sprint, 15.364 seconds. Tidholm from Category 1 in there right close by. But so is Wilhelm from Category 3. Anke Konen and Hamilton, they're just 0.3 of a second slower than Kolkowitz. Ella Vink from Category 4 taking the fastest time there, just 0.4 of a second back. Then we've got Thuren Soderstrom Category 1, part and parcel of that Category 1 pack. Rossum from Category 3. And then Eck rolling through to round out the top 10. And what that tells me is pretty much because Barbara Bulwara is the fastest in Category 2 through that section in 15th place. But when you look at the times on the results page, they are all pretty much packs rolling through the sprint.
So 4 packs on race route, spread out from 9 kilometres to nearly 17 kilometres along our race route. Now, whilst the riders are at the moment approaching the big climb, a couple of bits of things that I sort of picked up on the way through, and one is actually triggered by one of the comments on the YouTube channel. Don't forget you can comment on the live chat there. We do try and keep an eye on it simultaneously. We added another screen to our many, many screens. I've lost count. I don't have enough fingers now for the amount of screens in the studio. However, it was Adam Stasinski, who's one of the coaches in here. And I wanted to, you regularly ride as part of a team on Cycling Esports. How much influence do coaches and DSs have on the racing?
Oh, there's a good question.
I like opening a big can of worms.
They can have a lot of influence over the racing.
Do tell.
Well, in terms of discussing strategies and then executing strategies, changing strategies on the hoof, and of course being in the ear of the riders and encouraging the riders. And I know I have teammates who always say when you've got a DS in your ear, it adds sometimes another 10 or 15 watts because it really squeezes the performance out of you, because you've got that motivational aspect as well as the strategy aspect in your ear, and it really does lift your game.
Well, one rider who we know is always going to lift the game, it's Nicky Lloyd. Nicky's been out on a tour of MyWhooshers on the Sunday Race Club, out in person. And at the moment, Nicky chasing the leading group, currently sitting in 19th position, but using those sprints to score that green skin suit of the sprint winner. A rider who's also been joining you on something that is not being a coach, but being coached.
Oh, yeah, she has
live
indeed.
coaching.
She has indeed showed up on the live coaching sessions on MyWhoosh, which has been absolutely brilliant. And so indeed has Katie Bago, another one of the Category 4 women. It's been fabulous to see riders from the Sunday Race Club drop in and join those live coaching sessions. They've been absolutely brilliant. I'm really lucky. Monday, Wednesdays and Thursdays for me in terms of being on board and leading those sessions.
And I've got to say, congratulations, Emmy. I think you had the highest number of riders on a coached session to date. So congratulations. A win's a win.
Oh, Thursday night was fab.
There's been some big news. Don't forget, whatever ability you are, jump on board. I know a lot of people jumping on the live coaching sessions. We've got lots of great coaches on there. Lots of our riders who race as well.
Yeah, indeed. And lots of our riders who race, and men and women joining the sessions. And the sessions are banded. So never feel you are not good enough to join a live coach session. It does not matter whether your top end power is 1.5 watts per kilo or 7.5 watts per kilo. It really does not matter, because those live coach sessions are banded. They are absolutely brilliant for everybody, whether you are a beginner and want to see what structured training is all about, and you might just want to drop in once a week to try something new, or whether you are a world-class athlete. And I do know, in fact, that the new Polish coach, Karol, had a Mr. Kaminski on the start line for his session on Friday.
Excellent. So do jump on board. Come and join us. Come and go racing with the race. Now, Category 1 groups seem to have settled down a little bit. We saw the early sprint, the Category 1 riders leading the whole leaderboard, covering the leaderboard as they came through. As we got into our second sprint at 8K, we saw that it being a mix of jerseys in there from the different categories. Category 1 just settling down a little bit. Category 2, well, they are still the majority of riders in the bunch at the moment. We're just in with Julia Montgomery, another of our regular riders on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, and a rider who you can never discount. She's really strong on the climb.
Yeah, she is.
And somebody who always strikes me as being really determined when we see her on camera.
Yeah, absolutely. And very committed as well. Week in, week out, she is here on the start line of the Sunday Race Club and part and parcel of that Velocity Viking squad today. Julia Montgomery, she is really, really strong, and she's got a great team with her as well, with Lundin, Svalstrom and Embring. They really are a great squad, and you can see her. Look at that. She's got the phone in her hand, and it looked like she may well have been messaging them as well. So communication, not just verbal. Sometimes we do see riders texting and messaging members of the squad, and it depends on what the riders like. Sometimes our riders and racers like a little bit of music in their ears, or the DS, or they like to do the messaging and texting, which for me, I'm thinking, I can't quite coordinate that. When it's a bit tricky to try and type and kick out 4 watts per kilo or 3.5 watts per kilo or whatever it is the riders when the race gets going.
Well, let's see how that plays out and who is still able to multitask as they make their way up the hill. Category 1, let's see. Who would be on the attack? Would that be?
Johanna Tidholm.
There we go. Well, we've got some regular riders who are on the move at the moment, and the fully calibrated squads. Joanna Tidholm once again continuing to keep this pace pushed up. The pace drops. And this is something that is probably true of almost all cycling disciplines, particularly those that involve racing in a bunch, is that when the pace drops, that's when you see attacks go, because everybody thinks, oh, hang on a minute, I've actually got a chance to go clear. So everybody sort of puts their foot on the throttle and goes, and it can be tempting to go and put too much effort in.
It can, but do you know what's really interesting? On the top right-hand corner of all of these screens, you can see the gradient that our riders are at. And we talk about the first 20-plus kilometres of this racecourse being pan flat. Just take a look at those profiles. Category 1, oh, there's a small bump coming, but I tell you something,
Careful.
It's not a lot.
It's the causeway.
And flat Cat 3. Cat 4, well, they are furthest down the road and they are coming towards the end of that 21.9 kilometres of flatland. And you can see the climb of the Medellin City just about coming. But, well, I tell you something. Tidholm doing a sterling job on the front of that Category 1 pack, continuing to try and keep the pace high because she doesn't want it to be a 15-kilometre race.
She certainly doesn't. Category 4, the riders furthest down the race route, they are just approaching 21 kilometres, which means they've done everything from the left-hand side of your screen, over the little ripples, the causeways, through the sprints. They're approaching the 21.9k mark. And in fact, you can see that the climb begins just a little bit before the archway, and then they're going to be onto the Medellin City climb. This is climb number 1. Points are scored in the polka dot jersey competition. In the climbing competition, the same as they are in the sprints, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 points being awarded to the first 5 riders in each of them. And that polka dot skin suit for bragging rights on the best looking attire in the business. Then, of course, you can go score those. So coming into the climb, Category 4, absolutely key point. Category 3 are on the way into that as well. They're only 2k off. We've got a little bit more distance with Category 2 and Category 1. And Joanna Tidholm at the moment in Category 1 is being left out to dry. Nobody has closed that gap down, and now that means she's expending energy. She's only 2 seconds off the front of the bunch. So Category 1 at the moment, playing that team game really to the nth degree. Category 4 are going to be key here. They are approaching the climb. When we hit the climb, expect to see the power go up. The climbers start to put their moves in. They know, as Emma said earlier on, climb 1 is the key climb. Emma, tell everybody why it's the key climb.
Well, climb 1 is the key climb because it is the steepest climb and it's the one where we see the attacks go. If you are still with the bunch at the top of climb 1, then the transition across to climb 2 and then the average gradient of climb 2, the packs are so well matched, they can stay together. And we're in with Emma Sonnerson at the moment. She's part and parcel of this pack, and I think she should feature today. But the Medellin City climb 1, 5.5 kilometres, an average gradient just shy of 6%. This is the one for me where if you're going to attack and you want to ride clear of the bunch, this is where you have to go. At the top, it is possible to close a gap on the transition at the top, but not a big gap. I think if the gap is any more than around 10 to 15 seconds, you're not going to close it. But if you are there or thereabouts at the top, then the Bogota climb is not to be feared.
And this is where it's really key, isn't it? Because when we hit this, you've got the maximum time to extend that gap. You're going to put the maximum gap in if you go early on this climb. And we see this on everything from one-day races to multi-day races, whether that's on esports or in person, where you get riders. And if you attack on the bottom, you can make monumental amounts of time, but it's an incredible effort. If you attack near the top and you maybe think, well, I'm a minute off the top of the climb, you're only going to get a few seconds generally. And it's, although that is the best place to go, you can shed a lot of bodies. At the moment, though, Category 4 here, Emma, they're together. They're not broken anyone.
I do think what you just said depends on the profile of the climb. If the steepest part is at the front, you attack at the front.
Oh, we could have an endless...
And then you hold it. But here, this climb, the Medellin City climb, is pretty consistent. And it is a tempo climb and a rhythm climb. And that, I think, is going to be interesting. And I don't think we're going to see, well, we might do in Category 1. It depends what shoes McCarthy's put on today. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see what takes place today and what happens here. The Category 1 pack is back together again. and Penner on the front with Bastoni, Van Hoven, McCarthy in there. It's a tight group, and you can see them just rolling through that 15-kilometre marker, which is the end of the San Gil sprint. Oh, there you go. Up it pops. Jenny Eck from the Sweet Dream squad setting the fastest time rolling through with that Category 1 pack. 25 seconds, 0.83. Carolina Kolkwitz, Penner and Bruni, Prado, Sidlick, McCarthy, Fua, Van Hoven, Columbi, all in that Category 1 pack rolling through together. They're not motoring very strongly. All 25 riders in that Category 1 pack rolling through together. Gina Van Rossum setting the fastest time out of any other of the race fields in that Category 3. But again, the Category 3 pack rolling through together, very much like the Category 1. Angie Solazano from Category 4 setting the fastest time there. And Category 2, actually the steadiest group through that section. Falensky setting the fastest time, but that group were rolling, just rolling all the way through.
So Category 2, rolling the way through. They're at 18.7k. They're not that far from coming onto the climb. And one of the things that we frequently say, well, I frequently say, is that if they, I'm not going to put words into his mouth or attribute any of my dodgy phrases to Emma.
Thank you.
When riders ride steadier on the early part of the race, and we have the climbs loaded towards the back end of the race, that is when you see the most fireworks, the most explosive efforts, because riders have not expended that energy. They've not gone in the red. They've not hurt their legs until they get there. And that is one of the key things. The steadier the run-in, the more explosive you find the final. Now, Category 3 are on the way into the climb. They got underneath the polka dot banner. You have in here our green sprint leaders jersey, but this is where climbing ability, the power to weight ratio, the ability to move at pace, the ability to put the effort down whilst the gradient changes, the ability to stay with somebody who's maybe just pushing that little bit harder. Very different skill set to a sprint, which is shorter, harder. You don't have to deal with changing gradients generally across the sprint because it's just too short. This is where climbing is key. It is starting to squeeze.
There's a real push on in Category 3 at the moment. And I know I said it was a pretty steady climb, but at the moment in these early foothills of the Medellin City Climb, Category 3 are pushing and pushing strongly. In fact, they've just backed off the pace a little. Pace was up to around 5 watts per kilo. They're pushing back on again now as it gets a little bit steeper, but they really are working hard and making people suffer at the back of that group. On the right-hand side of your screen, you can see this trail now of Category 4 riders at 23.3 kilometres. So they are, well, they're around 1.3, 1.4 kilometres into the climb. And Jones now is struggling. But I tell you something, Idzik and Warren are 1 second off the back of the group. There's around 8 riders now in the leading group with breadcrumbs behind.
It's well and truly splitting apart here. This is where the damage is being done. We saw on the screens that Category 3 were catching Category 4 in ones and twos, but at the front, the gaps are starting to open. This is a key part of the course as we come. This tight left turn into the right-hand hairpin. This is a key section when the road's hairpins, the gradient's going up, the leading group are moving, get caught on the wrong side of a gap, and there are names on the wrong side of that gap that I would not expect to see there. This is a dangerous moment in the race for all those riders behind that leading group. Get on the wheels or get out of the points, because you are not going to be in contention if you are not on that really quickly now. Category 4, big danger point. Category 1, they can wait a little bit for that. We're going through our next sprint. This is the Monpok City Sprint, and the riders have had a very serene roll through there because 2.5 watts per kilo for Category 1, rolling along on the flat. I'm not sure what to say about that other than they could probably do a lot of multitasking on the way through there.
Well, take a look at that. Angie Solazano from Category 4 setting the fastest time through the Monpok City Sprint, 27.339 seconds. And the Category 1 pack pretty much rolling through at the same time. So Kolkwitz, Kalman, Bassoni, Eck, Engstrom, Prado, Velt, Sidlick and Guerra all coming through in one big pack, but behind Solazano.
So, Emma, having seen Categories 4, 3 hit the climb, Category 2 are on the way in, I'm going to ask you for a prediction on Category 1. I know I love doing this, and you really hate it, but tough luck. Category 1. Well, I got it first, basically, because you don't manage to do it to me. Category 1. Well, category 1 are on the way into the climb. They're currently at 19K. Are we going to see the decisive move being made at the bottom or the top of the climb? Nearer to the bottom or the top of the Medellin City climb? What's your prediction for that?
I think about 2/3 of the way up.
Okay, nearer to the top then.
Nearer to the top.
Okay, there we go. That's Emma's.
I might be very, very wrong, but there you go. I was pushed into a corner and I've made a decision.
Excellent. Well, it's better than sitting on the fence. You get
Well, I
splinters
tell you
doing that.
something. Take a look at what is going on in this race
Yep.
at the moment. Kirchner we're in with at the moment, and she's about to see the Category 3 leading pack come through, and it's a big, big pack, you know. And you can see the Category 4 race further up the road in that bottom left-hand corner graphic now, really showing you what's going on in the racing. And we've got a real push coming on at the front of the Category 3 pack now, working their way well and truly through the Category 4 pack. Daniels, Bergin, Bonilla, De Silva, Van Rossum, all in the mix here. Isabella Bryson is there. Rebecca Johnson is just squeezing on to the back of the group here. Just actually not in contention. She's going to need to squeeze on. I'll tell you something. One of the things I'm really impressed by Rebecca Johnson at is she's never frightened of going off the back of a group. She's one of those riders who knows her ability on a climb, and she's very metronomic, and she just keeps going. She's not as good as going up and down as some of the other riders, and that's why you sometimes see at the top of the climb, she closes gaps as the riders cannot maintain the pace.
Yeah, you've got to be bold, you've got to be smart, you've got to know what you're going to do, and you've got to be brave to do that. So we'll see if that continues onwards. Category 4 and 3 on the climb. Category 2 hit the base of the climb in with one of the good climbers. I was going to say great climbers.
Yeah,
but they're all really good. I don't think you can award great when everybody is just so good. Serena Vittoria, maybe it was just great. Serena Vittoria, a really strong climber on the long climbs, hitting that section of the course. Now back in with leaders in category 3 here, continuing to push. Gina Van Rossum on your screens, and you can see really working well there in that group. In with category 2 as they hit the base here. Larson, who we saw on the attack earlier, now with Davison, Dexter, London, starting to make their way up on to the slopes of this climb. 2.5%. It quickly kicks to 4.5-5% here. This is where you really have to be with this leading group. You see behind it's a bit like a comet entering the atmosphere. You hit the climb, and the mass at the front push, and a tail of riders get left behind. Now, one of the comments on the YouTube feed, actually, you've just got to hang on to the wheel in front.
Oh, it's hardest.
I love it when anybody says the word just, because you know that's hard. I would like you, what I'd love for you to do if you're watching this, get in touch at Matt Fixer Paint and tell me what was the worst thing and the best thing a coach ever said to you. I have been told, just push on and just hold the wheel. And that is like, I was screaming out my ears because we were doing about 60K on the flat and I had absolutely nothing left.
Well,
so what was the best and worst things you were told at Matt Fixer Paint?
I'll tell you something. Sarah London is up and out the saddle and she's hanging on to the front of this pack here. Anna Embring is there. Lam Kong is there. Bridget Filensky is there. Poulsen is there from Denmark. Vittori Giannatti is there. It's a big squad at the front of this pack and they are now well and truly onto the slopes. It's just shy of 6% at the moment. You can tell that by the top right-hand corner of your screen. That gradient really gives you an indication of where the pack are. They are indeed that yellow line, the yellow vertical line, giving an indication of where the riders are at the moment. But look at the effort, look at the work to stay in this leading group. It is hard. Gonzalez, Ruhr is dialing it on the front. Davidson, Giannatti, Giovanni, Lundin, Filensky, Vittori, Yaramillo, Walkenhurst. They are desperate to stay in at the pointy end in category 2. In category 4, we have a break because Sonesson is up the road with Zaluga and Jones. 3 riders looking as though they're going clear in category 4 because the gap to Lopez is now at 3 seconds.
And the rest of that group at 17, 18 seconds from our leaders. That has broken and gone. Category 3 are chasing hard behind, and they are closing down the distance. They're down to
still a huge group.
500 meters. That is a massive group of Category 3 riders. The Category 2, again, another big pack looking like that's around the 12 to 15 rider marker. Will we see the same in Category 1, or will it be more like the Category 4 riders where we have 2 or 3 riders clear at the front? We're on to the climb with Category 1. It's a time to see how hard these riders can go as we hit these upper slopes. So in with Jenny Eck and Celine Colombi, Carolina Kokolowitz, Catherine Fuhr in here, German Prado in the mix. Nyquist is here. Looks like Bjarhead, Velt in here. Van Shaw, Tidholm, Holcroft. It's a real who's who. Amelia Velt tucked in the group with just in with Cornelia Engstrom, one of our finalists in the World Championships, a Royal Ambassador at those championships. And out of the saddle here, kicking down hard. This is when the climbing gets steep. This is when you've got to push. Well, great to see her in person and on the screen.
It is indeed, and I tell you something, she's got an amazing backstory coming to cycling and cycle sport much later in life, in her 40s, and proving that you can still make the World Championship final if you do not come to sport until later in life. So an absolutely fabulous backstory to Cornelia Engstrom, part and parcel of this Category 1 pack.
And you could be here racing with these riders. There are lots of great races on MyWhoosh. Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and of course, Sunday Race Club on Sundays. Every single day of the week, there is racing on MyWhoosh. Jump on board. Get racing. It doesn't matter how old you are. Please do download the app on iOS, Windows, and on Android. On all sorts of devices, go to mywhoosh.com and jump on board. Come and see if you can beat Emily Nyquist on the climb.
Well, indeed, and Nyquist really part and parcel of the Sunday Race Club this month. It's fabulous to see her on the screen and on the back of the pack. She is absolutely digging deep to stay with this group on the climb at the moment with the early pace here. Kalman has been dropped, Koinstinen has dropped, Kuma has dropped, Tidholm, Penna, Nyquist pushing to stay on. There will be some respite, but at the moment it's at 6% as she's digging in deep. She's with Van Shaw, she's with Prado, she's with a strong group, but the pack, there's a little bit of a stretch and a little bit of a gap now starting to form in Category 1 to the very front group. But Nyquist, Van Shaw and Prado are still working to stay on that chain. Well, Svardstrom is about to be distanced here on the Category 2 race, but it's hotting up everywhere.
Hotting up? It's absolutely boiling. It's boiled over almost, I think, at the moment because of the pace on here. So, as our 4 groups of riders are all on the same climb, the Medellin City climb, we're in with Category 4. We're in with Ella Vink. This is the last group in front of the Category 3 at the moment. We've got, in fact, 4 groups by the look of it. If we count the leading group as one group together coming through the hairpin, a little bit of a gap starting to open up, but 4 from the front. This is the next group that are going to get caught. And it's going to be Vink who's going to see Philippa Hill, Angel Hadlock, who are leading that Category 3 race coming up onto their heels here. But really interesting to see. This group are working together well in Category 4. And I'm just going to see, really interesting to see what happens as Category 3 leaders go past. The Category 3 leaders have got the pace. Will it disrupt Category 4? Will anybody just try and go with them? I think there's 1 or 2 people just lifting the pace, and that can disrupt what was a really good working group in Category 4 as they come through. You've really got to watch what happens, but it may well be they've gone past them going clear.
Well, the pace of the Category 3 pack moving through just so strong. 4.1, 3.8 watts per kilo. The Category 4 riders just can't hang with that. Not on this climb, not with the work already done, but Hadlock, Hill, Vasquez, Van Rossum, De Silva, Hyde, all part and parcel of the group. And I tell you what, there's another group coming, the Chase group in Category 3, are not far behind. They're about to come up onto the back of that Category 4 pack that the leaders have gone through. Well, in Category 1, McCarthy and Bruni and Guerra have put an attack in at the front of the pack. Kolczynski is trying to close it down with Fuhr and Sidlik, Bassoni and Soderstrom. The pack now is stretching. Take a look at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. The yellow jerseys are scattered down the hillside as Guerra closes on to the back of Bruni. They're closing down McCarthy because because McCarthy has decided it's time to go. Bruni Guerra Kolczynski, they are not letting her go anywhere at the moment.
And look at the focus there on Gabby Guerra, looking at that screen, making sure she knows exactly what to do. Out of the saddle, really dancing on those pedals, real climbing stuff here, tapping out a really smart rhythm, keeping that cadence at 78, 79 revs per minute, just kicking up to 80. And this is what you've got to do as a gradient changes. You've got to be able to be flexible when you're out of the saddle. It's such a key skill when you're climbing. McCarthy, she is phenomenal. I mean, look at the pace of the category one. The world champion has shown why she is the world champion this month. She came back from the world championships at the end of October. She has absolutely smashed it, hasn't she, this month?
Well, she has smashed it, but I'll tell you something, Gabby Guerra is smashing it as well behind. So is Mel Bruni. Mel Bruni's been on some phenomenal form, as well, off of those World Championships. And Mel Bruni said a first and 2/3 this month. She really is right up on the podium at Wrigley. Guerra's had 2 seconds and a third. McCarthy's had a first and a second and a week out. Those 3 riders have been absolutely on form and have lit everything up. Fua returned to form as well this month on the Sunday Race Club with a win in Belgium. So we've really, really had some cracking racing.
We have indeed. And I think it's just going to continue when we go into December. A perfect time to jump on board. Come join Wendy McAlpine, one of our regular riders on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We got regularly getting insight in there. And one of those riders that I'm sure we will see on our 4 qualifiers in December.
Yes.
Because in December, it's a perfect month to come and join. You need 2 qualifying rides to make it. You need to finish 2 qualifying rides in those qualifiers on the Sunday Race Club to go into the monthly finals. Perfect opportunity because there's 4 qualifiers in December. And of course, for a lot of people, there's quite a lot of holiday time going in. For a number of people, if you're lucky enough to have holidays, don't worry. We're not on holiday. We will be bringing you Sunday Race Club. It goes all the way through the year, every single Sunday. And I've got to say, jump on board in December. It's a perfect time when you've got the time to recover, maybe a little bit less pressure at work, hopefully a little bit more time to recover from that and really get into the swing of it. So really, really key.
Well, and that is true, isn't it? Because the first Sunday in December is the 1st of December. Then the 8th, the 15th, and the 22nd are the 4 qualification races. The final is on the 29th of December before we crack into 2025.
So don't leave it till the new year to make a resolution to come and race on MyWhoosh on the many races on Sunday Race Club. Come and join us on the 1st. First day, new month, new you. Isn't that what they say when they're trying to sell you a gym membership? We're not going to try and sell you anything because MyWhoosh is free. We want to give you the prize money. Never mind anything else. So come and jump on board. Now, it is our final, so for the next few moments, you need to be looking at the left hand and center of your screen because that is our monthly finals. Yes, the qualifiers have individual money, but we have team money up for grabs for our fastest 5 teams and our fastest 5 individuals. The winner of Category 4 takes away 2,160 AED. The team prize over 10,000 AED. When we move from 4 to 3, we move up in prize money. 3,600 AED for the individual win. 18,000 AED for the winning team, 10,800 for second, 7,200 for third, 3,600 for fourth, and 1,800 for fifth. 3 to 2 moves up again, 6,000 AED now for the individual win, 30,000. Yep, 30,000 AED. So if you're a team of 3 and you share it equally, that's 10,000 AED each. I know I don't need to tell you that maths, but I'm just trying to show off that I actually can do some occasionally. The Category 2 prize is absolutely phenomenal with Category 3 and Category 4 all racing in their category for the prizes. The biggest prize pot, though, is, say, for Category 1, and that is as follows. So individually, 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, and 10,000 AD for 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, respectively. In the team competition, 5th place takes 5,000 AD, 4th place, 10,000 AD, 3rd place, 20,000 AD, 2nd place, 30,000 AED, and for first place, it is a humongously whopping, phenomenally, excitingly crazy 50,000 50,000 AED. Yep, you heard right. 50,000 AED for first place in the team competition if you are in the winning team in Category 1. Now, at those World Championship you can spend your money in AED, but thanks to the power of Emma's Exchange, we're going to tell you what that translates to in.
Well, I'm going with Emily Nykus because we've just literally been talking about her. So in the USA, and for those riders in the USA, I mean, let's go with the commitment, dedication, resilience of those alarms going off at about 1:30 in the morning.
Yep.
And of course, there are riders racing in other countries around the world at all sorts of times. But if Emily Nykus was in Category 3 and she won, she'd win $980. That's 3,600 AED. If she was in the team competition in Category 3, she'd win $4,900.
Oh, but she's not in that one.
But she's not. She's in Category 1. So in Category 1, if she took the win or someone from the USA took the win today, it's $2,722. And in the team competition, first prize for the team competition, $13,612.
And we're in with Stephanie Sidlick, another of our riders from the United States
and
of
she's
America.
Riding strongly
she
today.
is indeed riding for that fully calibrated squad of Engstrom, Tidholm, Van Shaw, and Sidlick. Those four riders looking strong at the moment, and Sidlick in with a chance of helping that team to that team prize of 50,000 AED or
$13,612.
Don't forget, Emma's Exchange should only be used as a guide prize, and other conversions are available. Please do your homework, and remember, any money that you exchange may go up or down in value, and all that sort of stuff that you always get on that kind of feature. So thank you, Emma, for Emma's Exchange. Thank you for the team for the graphics as well.
Well, that's it, isn't it? So the push at the moment, we're watching Category 2. Gorea in Category 2 pushing on here, just chasing Esla and Daniel, who are up the road. But I can tell you, Category 3, the front of the pack, and Category 4, the front of the pack are up and over the Medlin City climb. Catherine Fua coming on to the wheels. I'll tell you something, Fua and Columbi and Sidlick, those are the riders who are here or hereabouts at the moment. But Fua and Columbi, the two riders in Category 1, they're 17 seconds back on Kolchinsky. And then, if I remember rightly, we've got Guerra, Bruni, and McCarthy further up the road. But let's drop in with Category 3 and Category 4.
So Category 3, first of all, Philippa Hill, Angel Hadlock, Gemma Daniels, along with Gina Van Rossum, up over the top of the climb. You've got Manuela Vasquez there, Elena Francisco de Silva. Then it's Hyde, Taconis, Ellos, and Johnson, followed by Montoya, Bonilla, Bergin, and Schultz. 14 riders over the top of the climb now, but not all together. It broke it into two distinct groups as an absolute minimum at the moment. In Category 4, Emma.
Well, in Category 4, it was indeed Lopez setting the fastest time with Sonnerson, Zaluga, Jones, Idzik, Alzat, Warren. We're in Category 4, but we're just seeing Category 2 go over the top. And I'll tell you something, Valensky, Giovanni, Larson, Giannatti, Vittori, and Poulsen. Those are the 6 riders in Category 2 over the top right now.
And of those 6 riders, you've got 2 riders from the E crew. That's Valensky and Poulsen. You've 4 riders from the Globetrotters squad. Giovanni, Larson, Giannatti, and Vittori. That puts them in the hot seat for taking away that phenomenal, if I remember correctly, 30,000 AED for Category 2 team win. What a move by the Globetrotters. Is that the team move of the day?
Well, it could well be in Category 2, but I can tell you, hot on their wheels. It's McCarthy over the top of the climb in Category 1. I don't know where Bruni and Guerra are, but they cannot be that far behind. I'll tell you something, Bruni is with Kolchinsky. That is an interesting move. So Bruni and Kolchinsky together in Category 1, pushing on at the moment. We're taking a little look to see if we can find Guerra, but I'm not sure where she is. Merle Bruman, I can tell you she's already gone up and over the top, so that's where she is. So McCarthy in 1, Guerra in 2, Bruni and Kolchinsky 3 and 4. And then I think you're going to find it's the combo of Fua and Columbi. So Fua now pushing on, Columbi on her wheel, Sidlick not that far behind, and then Holdcroft. That's the Category Category 1 race, and they're coming up. Tell you what, there's some cracking riders out in some groups here, because Category 2, Filensky, Giovanni, Larson, Giannatti, Vittori and Paulson have just been topped because Davidson, Svalstrom and Gonzalez have gone over. Let's take a little look, Matt, at where we are on the Medland City climb.
You see the pace and the speed. Mary Kate McCarthy going up there in 13 minutes, 31 seconds, 22 seconds, the gap back to Guerra, and 54 seconds almost back to Merle Bruni. Almost identical. Kristen Kulczynski, a rider who's great on a long climb, coming inside that minute in the 54-second marker. Then it's Catherine Furr behind and Celine Colombi sitting 1.25 minutes behind approximately at the moment in 5th and 6th places. That's going to be a really interesting battle for that last prize point if they stayed in 5th and 6th places respectively. Before this came on screen, I was just checking out the team competition in Category 4 because the pedal dancers squad are riding really, really well. They've got 2 of the riders in the leading group behind, though. It's a multitude of teams, including the Award women, including Petit Four. I think that's going to be an absolute battle to the end. Now,
I'll tell you what is going to be a battle to the end is Guerra, because take a look at this. Take a look at her on the screen. She's in time trial mode at the moment. She's time trialing across the flat, rolling, bumpy section, because the wheel in front that she's looking for is that of Kate McCarthy, who's 22 seconds ahead of her. But at the moment, it is going to be a real battle, because the move now for McCarthy, can she hold off Guerra? Can she hold off riders from behind? Is Guerra going to be able to utilise the riders up ahead on the road who are not in Category 1 as motivation to pick them off, to work her way back up to McCarthy? It's going to be such an interesting race and roll out for the last 5.8 kilometres of that Category 1 race. Well, with that 3.9k to go, that's the Category 3 race. And I tell you, someone who's working their way right the way through the field and may shortly, it's going to be so interesting to see whether she actually goes right the way to the head of the race on the road today. But Kate McCarthy goes under the banner for the Amazon Rainforest Sprint. This is the last sprint segment of the day, coming at 29.3 kilometres. By the end of it, she's going to be in the last 5k to go. She's taking a bit of a breather at the moment by the look of it in terms of her pace, but I say that and then she kicks on.
McCarthy absolutely flying. Now, really interesting, the team competition in Category 1. Kate McCarthy's squad, they have 3 riders inside the top 10 at the top of the Medland City climb. You've got McCarthy in 1, you've got Holcroft in 9th and Soderstrom in 10th, but a big time gap between them. 3 riders over the top, inside the top 10 for the Thundercats. Gabby Guerra in 2nd place, Kristen Kulczynski in 4th place, and Celine Colombi in 6th place. And that could put them, because of the average, when you add those together, although they're not leading the race, they're going to be closer. We've got 2 riders for Sweat Sensations in the top 10 and 1 rider for Effetto Skier and Fully Calibrated going through as well. And it's all changing.
It is all changing. I'm going to give you a bit of an update, because Hannah Giannatti at the moment has the fastest time through the Amazon Rainforest Sprint, and of course it will be updated because this is live. Larson on her wheel, and the rider who is motoring is Gabby Guerra at the moment. So McCarthy went through in 20th at the moment with an average watts per kilo of 3.8. Guerra goes through, I know it's only a sprint section, but she goes through in 3rd place at 5.1 watts per kilo. And what that tells me is Guerra is still intent on trying to close McCarthy down. The race is not over. And you know what? I love this level of commitment, dedication, and absolutely fighting all the way to the line. Well, McCarthy and Guerra are not shy of fighting each other and battling to the line. And both riders are world-class form at the moment.
Absolutely world-class form. Both medalists, of course, at the World Championships, with the silver medal for Guerra, a gold medal in the champs jersey going to McCarthy. They are in Category 1. Onto the climb, you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, we're just in with Hannah Giannatti at the moment in Category 2. Also onto our last climb, the Bogota climb. This is relatively a low gradient on the way through, 2.9% average gradient. That means that when you catch riders, you're going to get draft because you're going to be going quick enough. You can see Guerra's speed at the moment. She's absolutely flying 35 kilometers an hour in pursuit of McCarthy. She has got riders in from the very front of the race. Well, category 3 are there, and that's Daniels, Hill, Hadlock, Vasquez, and Van Rossum. Hill in the polka dot skin suit, leading them up the climb. Hadlock in the green skin. Sorry, it's not green. It's Gina Van Rossum in the green skin suit. It's Hadlock on the left of your screen there. So Angel Hadlock moving into second place in that blue jersey. This is going to be there's not long left. They've got to get this sorted out quick.
Well, I think this is going to be a sprint for the line because Hill, Hadlock, Daniels, Vasquez, Van Rossum, and De Silva.
How'd you split them?
That is a phenomenal 6-up leading group in category 3. And I'll tell you what, there's a chaser not far behind. And the leaders of category 4, well, they are there too. And take a look, Gina Van Rossum on our screen at the moment. She's marking the back of the group. She's trying to get in as much recovery as possible. And I'll tell you something, over this last 2.3 kilometers, it really is about who can maintain the energy and hold the energy back and unleash it at the line. Because with the amount of climbing they've done and the battle to get into this leading group in category 3, the work is hard. Well, I'll tell you something, we've got McCarthy on the left-hand side of the screen, currently leading category 1. On the right-hand side of the screen, Nelly Larson, Filensky, Giannatti. This is going to be another battle royale, you know, in category 2, because they are locked together. And they've got Natalia Idzik from category 4 on their wheel. Sophie Giovanni is at 3 seconds. I tell you what, she could very easily come back on to make that a leading group of 4.
Well, at the moment, Natalia Idzik just seen the rocket ship that is Mary-Kate McCarthy just go blasting past. I think that is something that pretty much everybody in this race field is now going to feel because of the speed of McCarthy. The speed of Guerra, though, is matching at the moment. Natalia Idzik, one of our really strong riders in category 4, and a rider riding for the Watt women team. Looking at where the allocation of points is in that category, every single rider in category 4 is going to have to ride to the line. Nobody can afford to sit up and take it easy at any point now on this time, particularly if the time gaps continue the way they are going, because I think everybody's expended so much energy on the Medellin City climb that now that we're onto the Bogota climb, they are really suffering. This is really tough stuff. Now, right-hand side of your screen, you can just see Sonderson leading from Zaluga and Lopez in category 4. Category 3 is Daniels, Hill, Hadlock, Van Rossum, and De Silva. Category 3, really tight. One rider in the lead group from Freewheeling Spirits, one from Gear Goddesses, 2 from Grind My Gears, 1 from La Rosa Blanca. Same applies category 3. You've got to be up there and you've got to be in this mix.
Well, you have indeed. And De Silva at the moment is the rider in trouble. We had 6 riders in this leading group. Now it's looking like we've got 5. Hill, Daniels, Hadlock, Vasquez, and Van Rossum. Aline De Silva is the rider in trouble. Claudia Hyde behind her may well be able to capitalise on that and continue to keep riding and continue to keep pushing. De Silva may come back to her, but it's now looking like we've got our 5 riders who are leading category 3. Coming up to 1 kilometre to go, and Daniels, Hill, Hadlock, Vasquez, and Van Rossum are continuing to ride as a tight-knit group.
This is going to be key. How they ride, how they push, where they choose to go in that last K. On the run in towards that last kilometre, currently at 1,400 metres to go. Mary-Kate McCarthy in the polka dot skin suit of category 1 best climber is going to go alongside Bridget Filensky, the polka dot skin suit wearer in category 2. Those riders scoring those points on the first climb. At the moment, Mary-Kate McCarthy should have the fastest time up here to score the most points, but who knows, because the chase is on behind. Meanwhile, you can see Philippa Hill in this leading group in category 3.
Can anybody beat her today?
It's a sprint on a climb, and that is a whole different kettle of fish.
No. Philippa Hill, I tell you something. I have been so impressed by the fact that she has a sprint at the end of a climb.
Yeah.
But I tell you something, Daniels, Hadlock, Vasquez and Van Rossum are going to work hard for this. They are not going to let her have it all her own way, but she may well pip this because I know she's got a kick. This is a polka dot banner signifying the end of the Bogota climb. This means there's 500 meters to go.
So here we go. 5 riders, all of which can kick, all can sprint. Van Rossum's got the green skin suit of the sprint leader in this group. Hill has got the polka dot skin suit of the best climber. These group of 5, they're together at the moment. How long will it last?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see who kicks first as Hill opens up the move. I was going to say Van Rossum was going to go because she was lifting the pace at the back, but Hill's just ridden away off the front at 7.4 watts per kilo. She's blown the group apart. She's still got 300 meters to go. She's got to go around the corner. Can Daniels, Vasquez, Van Rossum or Hadlock do anything about it? I think Hadlock is now out of this. So is Van Rossum. Vasquez, I don't think can make this. Gina Van Rossum is fighting for second place at the moment, but Philippa Hill in category 3 is going to take the win today on the road and the win in category 3. Philippa Hill, Sunday Race Club, November final. Watch her go underneath the UCI banner. Your winner today, Philippa Hill, category 3. Well, the battle is on behind because Vasquez and Daniels Van Rossum are battling. It's going to be Vasquez, I think, from Van Rossum and Daniels. Did Van Rossum come over the top to pip the post into second place? I think she could have done. Yes, she has. So Hill, Van Rossum, Vasquez and Daniels. But it's Mary Kate McCarthy in category 1. She's gone past the leaders in category 4. She's gone past the leaders in category 2. She's gone past the chase group in category 3. Kate McCarthy is going to come round the bend and see the UCI banner for the category 1 win today. So Kate McCarthy in a time of 60 minutes. Can she go under the 61-minute marker? Yes, she's going to. This is going to be the fastest time ever on Paso Alto for the women. And it's Kate McCarthy who sets the fastest time in winning the November final in category 1.
What a ride by the world champ to take away the win, set the course record, and add to her reputation as the current rider on form. Next rider on form on the way.
Well, Guerra is about to come through for second place. And I'll tell you something, she's going to go underneath that course record as well today. Gabby Guerra goes underneath the UCI banner for second place. A fabulous ride and a record-breaking ride as well. That is 40 seconds quicker than the previous course record.
So 2 riders in over the line in category 1. Don't forget the results on www.mywhoosh.com and go onto the menu and click on results. You'll see the Sunday Race Club finals live at the moment. And they will then be listed. Don't forget, so when the blue tick goes, that they have then been verified, checked and confirmed. Now, behind the battle is on. Slane Columbia just starting to be distanced by Catherine Fu in the battle for 5th and 6th. Kristen Korchinski looks like she's the next target up the road, but it's 12 seconds and 300 meters. Surely that's too much for Fua to do. Bruni's going to be safe. She's on her way to the line.
Well, Mel Bruni coming through and she sees the UCI banner. She's going to take third place today in the category 1 race. Ever consistent. 4 races in November. I had to remember which month it was.
It is.
And that's her third time being third.
There we go. Another fantastic ride by Catherine Fu. Going to come chasing to the line. Over she goes. Gets another race finish. It's another set of prize money. You can see her let down on the bike there. That is the effort it takes to race and ride at the front. Now, the overall standings individually. The top 5 in category 1, first of all. Mary Kate McCarthy taking the win with that new course record. Gabby Guerra dipping under the old course record to take second place. Mel Bruni in 3rd. Kristen Kolchinski in 4th. Catherine Fua in 5th. Columbia just coming in for 6th. Emma, run us through the top 5s in categories 2, 3 and 4 if we've got them.
Well, Falensky takes the win in category 2 with Giannatti, Larson, Vittori and Giovanni. In category 3, Hill, Van Rossum, Vasquez, Daniels, Hadlock and De Silva. In category 4, I can confirm Camilla Zaluga has come across the line in for the win from Lopez, Sonnerson, Jones and Idzik.
Now, that's the individual competition. As we stand at the moment, live and unconfirmed, Category 1 team win going to the Thundercats with Guerra Kulczynski and Columbia. Category 2, Globetrotters from E-Crew. Category 3, Weekend Warriors from La Rosa Blanca. We're watching the screens as they go, but because they are literally updating as we speak. What a finals, what a race. I hope you've been inspired to jump on board and ride. Please do remember, get in touch. Tell me the best and worst things, the most impossible things that a coach has told you to do at Matt Fixer Pain. Get in touch with Emma Martin at biking_Emma. Don't forget, you can catch up with Emma and myself on the Inside the Ride podcast on the YouTube channel here on MyWhoosh, episode 11. If you want to catch a slight insight to what's inside our minds and what we've been up to prior to and whilst talking on the Sunday Race Club, it's quite a worrying thing at times. Don't forget, of course, you can catch up with me on the Crosscast, the Cyclocross podcast, Emma on the Virtual Velo podcast. There's lots of great racing on MyWhoosh. We want to see you out there racing. We want you to join Emma on the coaching sessions live as well. And most importantly, make sure you subscribe, like, and follow wherever you are watching this. Tell your friends.
Bring a friend to December.
Bring a friend to December. Get that racing done all the way through the month into January, when the OTR have got a bit of a challenge. If you have been racing on the Tour de Monde coming up as well, that's a massive race coming your way in the new year. Time for us to take a break, draw a breath, maybe hit the coffee and ice cream prior to the men's race. I'm not kidding. Please do make sure you join us for that. A massive thank you to you for watching, to the riders for keeping us entertained, for the coaches for inspiring the riders, and of course to the team behind the scenes who make it all happen. Absolutely world class, I tell you, there on the controls. From Emma, myself, and everybody, stay safe. We will see you for the men's race.
Goodbye.